Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Luckiest Peach podcast. I'm your host, Rachel, the Lucky Peach. Unfortunately, this is the third time I've had to fucking record this episode. Because my dad will say, real quick, let me bother you real quick. And then it's not something quick. But I am trying to get to the point of no more interruptions. So, respect the fucking podcast. Honestly, I probably just could have kept recording and edited it out later, but y'all know I'm lazy, and I honestly wasn't that far into the recording. But still, I just restarted anyways. That being said, I'm sorry for no episode being uploaded last week. Time has just slipped away from me, but honestly, I do not have much time as of late. I quite literally do not have any free time. This past Sunday was the first day off that I had, I think, in over 3 weeks. Probably about a month. My God. I don't remember. Before this past Sunday, which was Easter, I don't remember the last day off I had, the last complete day off I had where I had absolutely nothing to do all day. Do not remember the last time that happened. So yeah, that's where I'm at in life. I did not have a single chance to sit down and record. Did not have a single chance to sit down and watch the movie. But do not worry, because it was already promised. I will get to Luis's Cult of the Month birthday pick. It will be uploaded at some point. It will happen because I have already said it will happen. But that being said, I think going forward with the podcast, I think the only set in stone thing that I want to keep is streaming wars. Again, I'm sorry, this is the third change I've had in this so far this year. But I need to adapt things to better fit my lifestyle right now. And I think the best way to do that is to not have that set schedule that I liked at first, because now it's not working for me. It was working for me for, a whole year. But now, unfortunately, it is not. And I need to adapt that to better fit my lifestyle. So I think for sure I'll keep Streaming Wars the same, because I do enjoy doing that. I might change when it uploads. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't think I'm gonna continue having an entire month planned in advance. Because I want to have Streaming Wars uploaded before the month starts, and that was kind of a thing that was bogging me down. Is some months I was uploading Streaming Wars on the 5th or 6th of a month, after most of those films that I was announcing had already obviously been added to these streaming services, so it was just kind of redundant to me. And yeah, and I kind of want to upload Streaming Wars whenever the timing actually makes sense for each month. And after that, I think I will just take it from week to week, based on what I want to do, based on how I'm feeling. That also being said, adaptation. At this point in time, I am kind of going to have to close the Patreon. I apologize to the patrons that I do have. I just cannot keep up. I can't keep up. If you are on Patreon, you've noticed for the last few months, I have not even been able to upload a week early. It just hasn't been possible for me. So I will be doing away with the Patreon. For now, the episodes are going to be audio only, because it's just easier on me this way. And it's also going to save me money, because then I won't have to pay for StreamYard anymore. But then also it'll be easier for me to mix my audio and edit it. Which is another, in a way, kind of step backwards, but then a step forward, because now I kind of want to start editing my episodes. Editing in the way of just in case there is an interruption, I can edit out the interruption, or, any noises that I want to cut out. Yeah, it's just, I'm at a point where it's just like easier on me to do it that way. A year ago, I was not as, educated on audio mixing and editing as I was, as I am now. So, just going to StreamYard and hitting record was easier for me then. Now, the opposite is easier for me now. And it's part of it's like I'm just too busy, and part of it's just I've learned a lot, and I realized that just recording and editing and, engineering the audio of the podcast is easier on me than having to go onto StreamYard and do all that, and then uploading to 5 different files for the episode. At some point in the future, I might start uploading video versions of the podcast again. I'm not entirely sure. If I do, they'll just be available to everyone on YouTube. For the time being, though, I think once or twice a week I will make the videos from episodes 31 and up public, just once or twice a week, not all at once like I did in November. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Yeah, that was oof. I'm not going to just make 30 episodes public and then destroy everyone's subscription feed on YouTube like I did in November. I learned my lesson. Yeah, so once or twice a week I'll make an episode public from the video files. What else? Like, schedules aside, I think, like, the main thing that kind of, like, brought me to this point of, like, I kind of want to take away the structure of, the podcast that I had is, none of my reviews of recent releases were, like, I guess, just the way media moves. It was kind of like at the times that I was uploading these reviews, it was kind of just like they weren't relevant anymore. It's like, just the speed at which the media moves. It's like uploading a review of The Tragedy of Macbeth 2 months after it releases is kind of pointless. It's not really thought about anymore. Nobody, just is speaking from, like, I guess a journalism standpoint. It's just, it's like I'm getting onto it too late in the game as a critic. Yes. I want to release these reviews, closer to the release dates of these films. So that being said, and that means, those reviews will be more spoiler free from here on out as well. Instead of me spending 10 minutes reading the plot, it will be a spoiler free review of the film. The catalyst to this is that last week I was fortunate enough to get tickets to an advanced screening of The Northman. Thanks to thanks to the perks of being a film critic, I was able to get advanced tickets to see The Northman. So I'm like, I should step on that opportunity. What's the fucking word? I don't know. Carpe diem, seize that opportunity to review it while it's not out yet, The Northman does release this Friday, April 22nd, nationwide. It is the newest film from Robert Eggers, who you guys fucking know. Y'all should know by now. I fucking love this man. I love him so much. But we'll get into my actual review of the film later in the episode. But yes, I was able to go see it early. I actually got tickets for another advanced screening, so I'm gonna go to it again. I was already gonna pay for this movie, and then I got invited to 2 advanced screenings. So of course I am seizing those both. I'm seizing the opportunity for the next one as well. And then opening weekend, I will absolutely be seeing it again. I'm seizing my opportunities as, a film critic. as well as, as a fan of Robert Eggers, I will be supporting him in the box office opening weekend. So this will be a spoiler-free review. Do not worry about it. I will not say a single thing. If I accidentally do, I will edit it out. I will cut it out. Alright, you do not have to worry about that. So, let's get started. Wait, is there something else I forgot to say? I don't think so. Anyways, The Northman, if you don't know, is a 2022 American epic historical action drama film directed by Robert Eggers. Woo! It is based on the legend of Hamlet, who is a figure in medieval Scandinavian legend, and it is the direct inspiration of the character of Prince Hamlet from Shakespeare's Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, which is the full title is actually The Tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark. Yeah. It does not take inspiration from Hamlet. It is the inspiration for Hamlet. Okay. Alright, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. I'm not gonna get into the legend, because obviously it's not very well known. Well, I guess in a way it is, because, fucking Shakespeare wrote a play based on it. But, I won't get into it because I guess in a way that's kind of a spoiler in a way. It is very different from Hamlet, but I can see now that I'm like thinking on it, I can see where Shakespeare drew his inspiration from. So, what else? Let's get into it. So, the cast. Well, no, okay. Let's. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, God. They finally put the full plot on Wikipedia, so it's throwing me off. Give me a sec. I'm trying not to say it. I don't want to say the whole fucking plot. Okay. Here we go. Sorry. Okay. So, the plot. Well, the synopsis. Prince Hamlet is on the verge of becoming a man when his father is brutally murdered by his uncle, who kidnaps the boy's mother. 2 decades later, Hamlet is now a Viking who raids Slavic villages. He soon meets a seeress who reminds him of his vow: save his mother, kill his uncle, avenge his father. So y'all can see where the Hamlet where the inspiration for Hamlet comes from. I guess I could get into. Well, what did I do? What did I just do? I just goofed. So, getting into the legend of Hamlet just a tiny bit. Oh Lord, it's getting into the fucking etymology of it. I don't want that. I guess, I don't know. What the fuck? Okay, so, Lord. What am I looking at? I'm trying to look at what the fuck the first mention of it is. Okay, so it's been frequently assumed that Scandinavian legend ultimately goes back to an Old Norse poem about the 10th century. Nevertheless, no such poem has survived, and the 2 12th century Latin versions of the story are our oldest source. There is an early modern 17th century Icelandic version of the tale, and Thormodus Torfaeus also asserts that a story of Amladi was part of popular folklore in his youth. But it is unclear whether the early modern Icelandic tale is substantially influenced by Saxo's account, or if it represents an independent tradition derived from the unattested Old Icelandic source. The Old Icelandic form of the name Amleth, I cannot pronounce it in Old Icelandic, is recorded once in the Prose Edda. In the 12th century, Amlethus Amblothai may easily be Latinizations of the Old Norse name. The etymology of the name is unknown, but there are various suggestions. The Icelandic name is recorded as a term for a fool or simpleton in reference to the character of the early modern Icelandic romance or folktale. Yeah, that's just more on the etymology of the name. But it's suggested that there is a poem from the 10th century, but the earliest record that there is to Amleth's story is the 12th century. And the Prose Edda was written in Iceland in Old Norse in the 13th century. Yeah, and it's called. There's a thing that says like 16th century reception. It's referencing to Hamlet, of course, written by William Shakespeare, which he wrote sometime between 1599 and 1602. Yes. So. Yeah. So this is the original. Haha. I'm not a big fan of Shakespeare, so if I say fuck you to Shakespeare, that's why. He took inspiration. He is not an original, but I mean, art. It's rare that art is original, especially in the 21st century. So, anyways, I'm trying so hard not to call it a Hamlet story because it's not a Hamlet story. It is, if anything, Hamlet is an Amleth story. But obviously, y'all are gonna be, the most familiar with Hamlet, so that kind of gives a sense of what the story is. I don't remember Hamlet that well. Don't really care to know it that well. I kind of care more about this. Don't lie, this is this kind of stuff is my actual heritage and my genealogy, so I guess in a way my colonizer blood is more inclined to read on this. Honestly, when I was watching this movie, I was like, it's very accurate. It is very accurate. Sorry, portrayal of Scandinavian, ancient Scandinavian life, I guess. And in a way, and just watching it, I was like, it's honestly a miracle that my race still exists. It's honestly a miracle that white people did not go extinct. Honestly, just us being idiots. Besides the fact, it's just very brutal. Killing people. It's just very brutal. Anyways, though. So, what was I going to say? I don't remember. Okay. Anyways, the runtime is 137 minutes. Again, it is releasing this weekend, April 22nd. The budget was $70 to $90 million. I do not know if there is an exact number. Let's find out. Where is it? IMDb. Oh my god, so many fucking details. Technical specs. Okay, the budget. Okay, well, IMDb has something different. It's saying the estimated budget was $60 million. But Wikipedia is saying 70 to 90 million, so I don't know. It is currently released internationally as of March 28th, 2022. And worldwide, it is currently grossed $3,434,000. Which I'm kind of sad about. More people need to be watching this fucking movie. Yeah. Technical specs. Oh, what was it? I believe it was digital. I don't have any reason to believe it was fucking... Yeah, the Panavision, Panaflex Millennium XL2, Panavision Primo, and Petzval lenses. Yeah, it's... Oh, but the negative format is 35mm. But it is digital. It is digital film. It was shot on digital. It's not a digital film. Well, it is a digital. It's not shot on film. It is shot digitally. digital cinematography. But then again, it was produced by Regency Enterprises and is distributed by Focus Features, so yeah, that tells you everything you need to know about why it's not shot on film. But it's also just a fucking behemoth of visual effects. Not that you can't do that on film, it's just that it's in the 21st century, it's a lot easier to do that digitally. Yeah. So, anyways, directed by Robert Eggers, written by Sean. Oh, is Sean? Okay, it's an Icelandic name, so Sean. I feel like I reviewed something on here. Oh, Lamb. He also wrote Lamb. I was like, I feel like I've reviewed something else that he wrote. It was Lamb. He's also written Lamb. He co-wrote Lamb. But anyways, he co-wrote this with Eggers. Yes. Anyways, cinematography by Jarin Blaski. Edited by Louise Ford. Music by Robin Carolyn and Sebastian Gainsborough. Production companies are Regency Enterprises, Perfect World Pictures, New Regency, and Square Peg, and it is distributed by Focus Features in the US and internationally by Universal Pictures. And of course, the release date for the international market was March 28th, and the US release date is April 22nd. And as I stated before, the runtime is 137 minutes, which is about 2 hours and 17 minutes. Alexander Skarsgård, who is in the lead role of Hamlet, had been trying to make a Viking-themed movie since 2011 when he was attached to a Warner Brothers film with the working title The Vanguard. Eventually, he met Robert Eggers to discuss about another potential project, but the discussion quickly turned to the Viking Age. In October 2019, it was announced that Robert Eggers would direct an epic Viking revenge saga, which he would also co-write with Sean. The film was officially in preparation in December 2019 and would begin filming in Belfast in 2020. In August 2020, sorry, I don't want to talk about the cast just yet. Okay, here we go. What? No way. Sorry, anyways. Principal photography was set to begin in March 2020, but was halted due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Filming started in August 2020 at Torhead, County Antrim, and Ballygally near Larne in Northern Ireland. In September 2020, the team began filming in Malin on the scenic Inishowen Peninsula in County Donegal, the Republic of Ireland. Filming wrapped early in December 2020. Archaeologist Neil Price of the Department of Archaeology and Ancient History at Uppsala University, Sweden, served as a historical consultant on the film. The film cost between $70 to $90 million to produce, which was higher than its original $65 million budget. In a test screening, one audience member said the story was confusing, while the studio felt the beginning was too slow-paced. New Regency Productions accepted a new cut and opted out of additional test screenings on November 4th, 2021. Northman was originally scheduled to be released on April 8th, 2022, but was later pushed back to April 22nd, 2022. It will be distributed by Focus Features in the United States and by Universal Pictures internationally. Yeah. Lord, what am I looking at? Oh, in the United States and Canada, The Northman is currently scheduled to be released alongside The Bad Guys and The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, with a projected gross of $5 to $10 million in its opening weekend and a total domestic gross of $12 to $25 million. The film made $3.4 million from 15 international markets in its opening weekend. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film currently has an approval rating of 88% based on 110 reviews, with an average rating of 7.8 out of 10. The website's critical consensus reads, quote, "A bloody revenge epic and breathtaking visual marvel, The Northman finds filmmaker Robert Eggers expanding his scope without sacrificing any of his signature style," end quote. Metacritic assigned the film a weighted average score of 82 out of 100 based on 34 critics, indicating universal acclaim. The Guardian's Peter Bradshaw gave a 5 out of 5 score, praising the film's nihilistic tone and performances by the cast, stating that, quote, "It's entirely outrageous with some epic visions of the flaring cosmos. I couldn't look away," and unquote. Digital Spy's Gabriella Geisinger gave a 5 out of 5 score and praised Edgar's visionary direction and the film's grisly and surreal atmosphere, claiming that, quote, "The world created in the Northman is so totally absorbing," unquote. Moviezine's Alexander Cardello gave the film a 4 out of 5 score and particularly praised Skarsgård's performance and Edgar's direction. IndieWire's David Ehrlich called the film, quote, "primal, sinewy, gnarly as fuck," and unquote, quote, "grab you by the throat, intense," unquote, and, quote, "never dull," unquote. Game Radar's Matt Matum commented that the film is, quote, "truly distinctive, unmissable epic," unquote, in their review, ultimately giving it a 5 out of 5 stars. The Independent's Clarice Lowry gave a 5 out of 5 stars and stated in her review that the film was a beautiful risk. RogerEbert.com's Robert Daniels gave a 3 out of 4 score and praised the direction, cinematography, and cast performances, but found that the film, quote, "often stumbles when it searches for profundity," unquote. So, moving on, the cast stars Alexander Skarsgård as Amleth, a Viking warrior prince, and Oscar Novak as young Amleth, Nicole Kidman as Queen Gudrun, Amleth's mother, Clyde Spang as Fjolnir, the brotherless Amleth's uncle and Arvandil's brother, Anya Taylor-Joy as Olga of the Birch Forest, a sorceress, Ethan Hawke as King Arvandil, War Raven, Amleth's father and Fjolnir's brother, Bjork as the seeress, Willem Dafoe as Hamir the Fool, Kate Dickie as Haldora the Pict, Gustav Lind as Thorir the Proud, Ingvar Eggert Sigurðsson as He-Witch, Murray MacArthur as Hakon Ironbeard, Ian White as the Mound Dweller, Katie Pattinson as Shield Maiden, Ian Gerard White as Thorvaldur Giant Crusher, Thor Julius Bjornsson as Thorfnir, that Thor Julius Bjornsson is also known as the Mountain from Game of Thrones, Doa Barney as Melkorka, Olwen Fuer as Ashildir of Githia, and Ralph Ineson as Captain Vladimir. This is also just like a amalgamation of collaborations with actors that Robert Eggers has previously worked with. Obviously, he previously worked with Anya Taylor-Joy, Kate Dickie, and Ralph Ineson on The Witch, and then with Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse. So, yeah, this is what I skipped over earlier. Around late 2019, Nicole Kidman, Alexander Skarsgård, Anya Taylor-Joy, Bill Skarsgård, and Willem Dafoe were in talks to join the film. They would all be confirmed that December, along with the addition of Clyde Spang to the cast. The film was originally in preparation in December 2019 with Belfast, yes. In August 2020, Bjork, along with her daughter Isadora Doa Barney, Kate Dickie, and Ethan Hawke joined the cast of the film. In September 2020, Bill Skarsgård announced he had dropped out of the film due to scheduling conflicts. He was later replaced with Gustav Lind. I'm actually very okay with that replacement. Now that I think about it, Bill Skarsgård in that role kind of would have been weird. Yeah, oh Lord, it's I just speechless by this film. I mean, just the fact that I'm gonna see it twice within 1 week, 2 advanced screenings within a week of each other, and then I plan on seeing it once again opening weekend, so that's 3 screenings within a week and a half. I fucking love this movie. Like, I just Robert Eggers is one of those directors that has been so utterly consistent with his films that it's impossible to pick a favorite. They're all so unique and so just insanely just profound and perfect that it's very, very hard to choose a favorite. And to see an auteur like Robert Eggers get the budget that he's just so strongly deserves is just such a it's a success for cinephiles. There is a loss. In interviews recently, Robert Eggers has stated that he does not think he'll ever make such a large project ever again because of studio interference, and it's unfortunate, but I completely understand that as, as a critic and as somebody who just, kind of observes what goes on in the industry. I can completely understand being turned off from having such a big budget just because of studio interference. But and that's not a diss on him. I completely respect it, and I mean, even with lower budgets, he did fantastically. It's an absolute shame that he can't get the budget he deserves and then be able to do what he wants. It's the way that the industry is set up. You either get to do what you want and you get a low budget independent picture, or you get the budget you want, but you can't make the film you want entirely. You are going to have some interference. So it's it's a double-edged sword, really. I don't even know if that's the right phrase, but regardless, I love this film. I cannot wait to watch it again. I kind of messed up when I logged it on letterboxed last week. I went home and then watched Her. So, when people who follow me on letterboxd opened letterboxd, they just saw that I watched Her. They didn't see that I watched The Northman. To see that I watched The Northman, you would have had to go to my profile or look at the actual, separate feed page. But the main feed page, you're just gonna see that I watched Her. But this film is exactly what happens when you give an auteur like Robert Eggers the budget he deserves to do what he wants, and the worst part is that he didn't get to completely do what he wanted, and it's an absolute shame that production interference made Eggers not want to tackle such a huge project like this ever again, because as it is near flawless. It is completely near flawless. If he had not had the studio interference, I can only imagine how this is already a 5-star film for me. I can only imagine what it would have looked like without the studio interference. Cutting down the film and I guess censoring some things. I don't know. If this is the film that finally gets awards organizations to notice him, I'm all for it. Although it would be a very long overdue recognition from those organizations. He's been just right out of the gate with The Witch. He was just nailing it straight on the head. He is quite easily one of the best directors of the 21st century, in my opinion. I guess he's one of the best directors in the last 10 years. I'm not gonna lie, that is my unbiased but also partially biased opinion, is that he is said to be a fucking just one of the greatest directors to have ever lived. He is on track to be one of the greatest directors in the history of cinema. I mark my words, you can hold that against me. I firmly believe that this man has a vision. It is just a profound, beautiful vision for everything he does, and it's absolutely insane. When The Lighthouse came out, or when the trailer for The Lighthouse came out, everyone was like, what the fuck, why is this in Instagram ratio? And then you watch the film and you're like, this is perfect, this is incredible, this is one of the best films I've ever seen. He can do so much with so little. His sets and his editing is so simplistic, but it's so flawless in how simple it is. And even this film, it's very weighty. There's a lot to it, obviously, but it is still, in a sense, simplistic. It holds that style that he, has kind of garnered for himself. it's just it's so fucking incredible. I highly fucking recommend this film. It's so raw, it's so gritty, it's so gory, it's so fucking just stunning. It's so well done. Like, now that you know, like, obviously it's the inspiration for Hamlet, you're gonna see those similarities. Know that this is the original story. Hamlet is based on this. So don't get it. Don't stick your heads up your asses about. Don't get your head stuck up your asses. But it's just, now you know that obviously you're going to see those similarities, but you can see the originality. You can see the vision that is like, this is an original film. Obviously, this story is an adaptation of a legend, of an Icelandic legend, but it's the execution is so thoroughly original, and I mean that in the way of like, it's a fresh take on an ancient historical film, set in the Viking Age, which is in BC, so ancient times. Like, it's such a fresh take on those film, on that genre of film, because we're at a point in time, and when I say at a point in time, I say the last 50 years, where like every single film set during ancient periods, set during any period that is BC, they all feel the same. It's like, once you've seen one, you've seen everything else. It's like every single one of them feels the same. Like, I'll admit myself, to this day, I know the difference between Troy and Gladiator, but I still get them mixed up. There's a part of me that still thinks they're the exact same movie, and they aren't even the same in content. They are two completely different stories, but they feel exactly the same, to the point that to this day, even though I know the plots are entirely different, because Troy is obviously based on the Iliad, and Gladiator is arguably, I guess, an original story, like, they feel exactly the same. I still get those films mixed up, and I know they're completely different, but I still get them mixed up. So, in an age where, like, the last 50 years, every single ancient historical film has felt exactly the same, this is incredibly, like, it's kind of, I guess in a way it's a low bar, but it's what we've come to expect. We've come to expect every single one of these films in this genre to feel exactly the same, and this one isn't. Like, it's completely original in its feeling. I cannot see myself getting it mixed up with anything else, like I would every other fucking ancient time piece. The writing of it keeps you on your toes. It's like, it strays so far away from the predictability that we're used to from these ancient, epic films. Like, it's so, that alone is attractive to me, because, like, I'm just so used to having, like, to just be like, okay, yeah, I know what's gonna happen. I can tell you what's gonna happen. You come to expect it with these types of films, and, like, obviously, if you know the story of Hamlet, you kind of, in a way, know how it's gonna go. But, like, just the execution of it is so deeply original, and, like, obviously, it's like, this story, but this legend, but it's executed. I keep saying executed, but it's done so originally that you kind of forget that the legend. You're like, what the fuck's gonna happen next? What is he gonna do? It's like, in the future, I would not be surprised if this, in a way, was considered to be Robert Eggers' like magnum opus. Like, if in the future we were to get his final cut, kind of like Apocalypse Now, minus the redux, no the Northman redux, just the Northman final cut, just the Eggers cut. Release the Eggers cut. I can get behind that. I can only imagine what the fuck these, like, the bonus features on the fucking Blu-ray are gonna be. I already know the steelbook's gonna be ugly, because it's fucking studios. I mean, just look at the poster. The poster alone tells you that a major studio made this film, and that's the worst part, is, like, it's just, the poster alone tells you that a major studio made this film, and they put their toes so far, they put their faces so far into this, put their grubby little hands all over this film, that it fucking turned Eggers off from ever doing anything like this again. The poster alone tells you that story. Just tells you that the studio did too much and they ruined the whole thing. And when I say they ruined the whole thing, they didn't ruin the movie. Just they kind of ruined the excitement for it, because you're just like, damn, you know, it's like an auteur getting the money he deserves, and then you just have to go and ruin it for him because you're more concerned about your PR and doing the floating heads posters that everyone's done since 1977. Yeah, I mean, obviously that alone tells you that a major studio made this, and that alone tells me that the steelbook is gonna be ugly as fuck. But regardless, I cannot wait for the fucking what the bonus features are gonna be like on this Blu-ray. I'm so pumped. I'm gonna pre-order it the second I get a chance. This is Willem Dafoe has a very brief cameo in this film, I'm not gonna lie. And even then, it's, well, first of all, Willem Dafoe is just a class act. He is one of the greatest actors, one of the greatest living actors, and he's in the film for 15 to 20 minutes. And he nails it on the head, and so does Bjork. It's so good. It's so fucking, I'm giving this whole review, and at the same time I still feel like I'm speechless. And that's the crazy part. It's absolutely insane. It is absolutely insane. I hope that in the future, you know, if another studio comes forward and offers Robert Eggers the budget that he deserves, they actually allow him the freedom that he deserves, the artistic freedom that he deserves. Because he got a lot of, obviously he got like a fuck ton of artistic freedom, but it's always in post-production where they get their grubby little hands on the film and they ruin the whole thing. They make it something else and it ruins it for the director. It doesn't even feel the same to him anymore. How many times have you heard that fucking story? A million fucking times. How many times have you heard of a director getting a budget and then having the whole thing kind of ruined for them because in post-production the studio just was like, no, we care more about our marketing and our PR, so you can't do that. You can't. Shut the fuck up. Anyways, I'm excited to see how this film performs. I'm excited to see this film again, which is obviously going to be twice within the next few days of this episode uploading. I will have seen this film probably twice again. Once at another advanced screening, and then once, obviously, opening weekend. I will be supporting this man in the box office. Mark my fucking words, I actually get paid this week, so I can do it, and I will do it. Anyways, my recommendation, go look into this legend. Don't worry about Hamlet. Only worry about Amleth. I'm very excited. I just can't fucking wait for this to officially be out so that I can talk about it with other people. I'm so excited. Lord. Anyways, thank you guys. Thank you guys for listening to that. And for listening to this episode, for understanding the changes that need to be made to better suit my life. I'll see you guys next week. Not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing next week, but I will see you guys next week. If anything, I kind of like leaving it open-ended. I'm, more at a chaotic point in my life where I'm just like, let's see what happens. I've always kind of been like that, honestly, but to finally bring that kind of thought process into the podcast feels nice. Feels kind of liberating to just no longer have that kind of planning bogging me down. But yeah, you can find me everywhere at Lucky Peach, LVCKY Peach. My website is rachelsweetland.com. There is also in the description of the episode a link tree that will take you to Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, letterboxed, Discord associated with the podcast, YouTube, the podcast itself, the stickers. There will also be a separate link to the stickers in the description of the episode. But the website is Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/the Luckiest Peach. As well as there is a link to a Reddit post of resources for how you can help the Ukraine, and a GoFundMe, because I have absolutely not a single way to pay for the next year of school. It is my senior year, and I have exhausted every single possible option, and I have no money. So there is a GoFundMe if you would like to help me afford to pay for the next year of school. Or you can buy a sticker, and that money will also help me afford to pay for the next year of school. But yeah, I will see you guys next week. If you want to keep up with me or ask me questions, I am most active on Twitter at Lucky Peach, or you can email me at luckiestpeachpodcast@gmail.com. Yeah. And I'll see you guys. This feels so weird. I'll see you guys next week. For whatever the hell I'm doing next week. It'll most likely be a review of one of the 2 film festivals I am currently covering, which I have not completely announced just yet, to be honest. But I'm doing that on purpose just because I don't feel like it. I don't feel like talking about it just yet. I will talk about it when we get to it. But I will see you guys next week. Thank you again. Stay peachy.